Greetings, one and all, and welcome to a very special Johnny Vegas Week 13. As you can imagine, the log jam that is occurring in both divisions heading into the playoffs is kind of complicated. Needless to say, your fearless commissioner woke me up in the middle of the night to go over this wonderful list with all of you. Let's get started. We're going to start right off with the Slaughterhouse versus the Hangman. For the Hangman, this is not a concern of a match because they're already locked into the playoffs. Congratulations, Hangman, on winning the global division. Now, you're in. You're good to go. You're the number one seed. You're undisputed. Now, we're going to cut over to the Slaughterhouse. If the Slaughterhouse wins, they're in. If they lose, they have to wind up scoring more points than both the Senators or the Extractors, depending on who loses. As it stands right now, the Senators lead them by 48 points. The Extractors currently lead them by 7 points. So from a purely mathematical standpoint, it would behoove the Slaughterhouse if they were to lose, if the Extractors were to lose, because 7 points is easier to overcome than 48. So that's matchup on the wonderful chart here. We're now going to move to the only interdivisional matchup, which will be the A-Holes and the Senator. No, wait a minute. Let me read that again. It's morning. We got the A-Holes next, going up against Snaketopus. A-Holes are locked in because of their record in the division, which is pretty amazing, because I blew the whole thing, Jake. I'm going to try again. Take two. Greetings, one and all, and welcome to a very special Week 13 edition of the Johnny Vegas Show. No hoops and whistles this week. We got a playoff log jam, the likes of which has never been seen in the history of the Board People's Fantasy Football League. As you can see on this chart here that I've been writing since 3 in the morning, thank you, Commissioner. What we have going on here is we have bracketology. I'll break it down for you in a manner in which you can understand. The black numbers are your overall record. Your blue numbers are your division rankings. And the red number are your points. That's how it all breaks down for playoffs. You go with your overall record. In case of a tie, you go to your division record. And in case both of those are tied, you go with points scored. We all on the trolley now? Okay, let's go. Starting right off, we got the Slaughterhouse going up against the Hangman. Now, for the Hangman, this is not even a concern because they are locked in as the Global Division Champions. Congratulations, gentlemen. You did it. Now, as for the Slaughterhouse, we're going to have a problem with them. If they win, they're in. Enough said. But if they lose, they're behind the 8 ball, so to speak. Because then they have to go against the loser of the Senators Extractors match. And as it stands right now, Slaughterhouse is currently 7 points behind the Extractors and 48 points behind the Senators. Slaughterhouse better win here, otherwise they are looking to get that dreaded number 5 seed, and you know what that means. It's that simple. Up next, we have the only cross-divisional action this week with the A-Holes versus the Snaketopus. Now, for the A-Holes, they too are locked. Not because of their record, but it's the fact that their division has that low of a record that win or lose, they're still going to get in, which blows my mind. At this point, they're going to get in a number 2 seed unless the Vandals wind up winning or the Terror wind up winning and they lose. A-Holes win, they get the number 2 seed. If they lose, they could drop down to number 3 or number 4. It could happen. Now, as for the Snaketopus, well, for them, they too will be in, But depending on what they do, their seeding will change. If they win, they come in as the number 2 seed for the global. If they lose, they come in as the number 3 seed. Heavy stuff, heavy stuff. So you guys want to win. You want good seeds. Good seeds make for good fruits and vegetables. And if you don't eat your fruits and vegetables, you wind up hosting a puppet show at 4:30 in the freaking morning. Up next, we have the first of 2 direct competitions for teams that need to get in. We have the Vandals versus the Terror. This is one of those ones where it's very simple. You've got to win to get in. You win, you come in at a number 2 seed. Provided that the Snakektopus does not win, because then they get the number 2 seed. But needless to say, you want to win. Because if you wind up losing, you can wind up with a number 3 seed if you're the Terror, or a number 4 seed if you're the Vandals. Not a position you want to get into. Sure, you're in the playoffs, but the seeding is important because whoever's number 4 goes up against your friends and mine, the Thunder, and they just won 11 games straight, kids. You don't want that. You don't want to pin your hopes to that. Moving on, the second of the direct head-to-head do-or-die matchups. Senators versus the Extractors. For these 2, it's very simple. You win, you're in. But if you lose, if either the Senators or the Extractors lose, it becomes an arms race against the Slaughterhouse. Now, currently, the Senators are ahead by 47 points, and the Extractors are currently ahead by 6. So, if either of you teams lose, shame on you. But if either of you lose, Extractors, you cannot score less than 7 points than the Slaughterhouse this week. If you do, you're done. Senators, not quite as daunting, but you have to make sure that you outscore the Slaughterhouse. The Slaughterhouse has to get 48 more points than you do this week. So don't drop the ball. Play hard, and you can make it. Extractors, play even harder, because you have to win, and win big. And finally, the last matchup this week. Sad to say, has no playoff bearings whatsoever. The Thunder have been locked in. The Roughnecks are locked out. Because even with a win this week, even though they would tie either the Vandals or the Terror if they lost, both the Vandals and the Terror still have the better divisional record. I'm sorry to say this, Roughnecks, but you're out. Your consolation prize, my respect, and the number 1 pick next year. For the Thunder, you have my congratulations. An 11-game win streak. You've tied the all-time greats. But let's see if the Roughnecks can do one last miracle. Let's see if the Roughnecks can snap the streak. I'm betting on you, boys. Make it happen. Well, that's it for me. I gotta go to bed. I'm tired. I've been up all night doing this. Could have finished college, you know? Could have finished my degree program. My ma said I would have made a great accountant. Could have settled down, married a nice another puppet, have a bunch of little sock puppets running around. I'm being maudlin. Bedtime for Johnny. Good night. We. Party time! Bugga, bugga, bugga,